Get out. Paying the mortgage doesn't make you family, my dad said coldly at Thanksgiving. Mom whispered, "You're just jealous of your brother's success." I couldn't believe it. I looked straight at them. Then let him pay the $8,500. The bills, groceries, and credit cards, I said. That night I shut down everything. The police showed up. Mom cried. My sister begged. And finally I did what I should have done long ago. The next day, 123 missed calls from family. Thanksgiving was supposed to be calm. It wasn't. My dad leaned back in his chair, looking at me like I was a stranger in his house. Get out. Paying the mortgage doesn't make you family, he said, cold as ice. I sat there frozen, the food untouched. My hands clenched under the table. My chest burned, not from the wine but from their words. Mom wouldn't even look at me. You're just jealous of your brother's success, she whispered. My brother Eric. The golden boy. The successful one. There he was, sitting across the table in his expensive suit, drinking wine like a king. But it was me who paid their bills. Me who saved their house when they were behind on payments. Me who covered $8,500 last month alone. While Eric showed off on social media, I stayed quiet. Then let him pay the $8,500, I said calmly. Silence. Eric stared at his plate. Dad's face twisted with anger. Mom finally looked at me like I was the bad guy. I stood up, pushing my chair back slowly. You've made your choice, I said. So have I. I walked out, leaving them behind. The cold November air hit my face. But it didn't hurt as much as their words. For years I carried them, paying bills, fixing problems, covering debts. Dad's surgery. The mortgage. Mom's car repairs. Eric's business just needed help. I paid. Every time. Eric was always about to make it big. At every holiday he bragged about investors, clients, and plans. Mom and Dad believed him. Your brother's building something amazing, Mom would say. Learn from him, Dad would add. Meanwhile, Eric's business lost money, and I kept bailing them out. They didn't see it, but they always saw me. The responsible one. The one who owed them. You live alone, no kids. What do you need money for? Mom asked last month after I paid their property taxes. Lucky me. Lucky to work 70-hour weeks in IT. Lucky to skip vacations. Lucky to drive a 10-year-old car. Lucky to give up my own savings so they wouldn't lose their house. And when I tried to say no, the guilt trips came. We raised you. Eric just needs more time. But tonight they finally said it out loud. I wasn't truly part of the family. I was useful when they wanted my money. Useless when I didn't give it. The calls started that night. Mom, sweetheart, don't overreact. Eric called twice. Left no message. By morning, 8 missed calls. By noon, 14. The text started. Eric, we all said things we didn't mean. Come back. Let's talk. Mom, can you pay the electricity bill? It's due today. Dad, be a man. Don't let one dinner ruin everything. That made me laugh. Ruin everything? They did that themselves. By evening, Eric sent another message. Hey bro, unexpected credit card charge. Can you cover it? Just temporary. Just temporary like everything else. The mortgage. Groceries. Property taxes. Private school for Eric's kids. All paid by me. But the final straw? 2 days later I checked my bank account, and froze. A new credit card opened in my name. Thousands spent on hotels, dinners, electronics. I knew it was Eric. He used my social security number. My identity. My credit. My hands shook, not with fear but with rage. That night, sitting in my dark apartment, I stared at my phone. They hadn't just used me, they betrayed me. They stole from me. They lied to me. No. I was done. My breathing slowed. My jaw tightened. If they wanted a fight, they were going to get one. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. Instead, I made phone calls to my bank, my lawyer, and the credit bureau. I froze my credit, disputed the charges, and filed a fraud report. The proof? Clear as day. The person behind it? My own brother. By morning, my phone blew up again like they could feel what I was about to do. Eric, call me. It's not what you think. Mom, please don't do anything crazy. Dad, you're overreacting. Well, for once I wasn't. The final showdown came faster than I expected. 3 days later, they all showed up at my door, pounding like it was life or death. Open the door, son, my dad shouted. Please, honey, we just need to talk, Mom begged, already crying. Eric banged harder. You don't understand what you're doing. But I did. I opened the door slowly, standing there like I was about to deliver their sentence. You have 10 minutes, I said coldly. They rushed inside. Mom crying, Dad angry but trying to act calm, Eric pale and nervous, eyes darting everywhere. Listen, Eric started, voice shaking. It's all a big misunderstanding. I laughed, bitter and cold. A misunderstanding? You stole my identity and spent $27,000. That's not a misunderstanding, Eric. That's a crime. Dad stepped forward, voice hard. We're family. You don't call the cops on family. I glared at him. Oh, now I'm family? Last week you told me paying the mortgage didn't make me blood. Mom sobbed. We didn't mean that. We were just upset. You meant every word, I said. You meant it when you called me jealous. You meant it when I paid your bills for years and never got a thank you. And you meant it when you let Eric steal from me and thought I'd just take it. Eric's fake calm snapped. I was going to pay it back. I just needed time. My business is struggling right now. I laughed in his face. Business? Eric, your business has been struggling for 5 years. You live in a $4,000 apartment, drive a BMW you can't afford, and wear $800 shoes, all while begging me for money. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Enough. You're tearing this family apart. No. You did that, I said through clenched teeth. You let him act like this for years. You drained me dry. Eric's face twisted in anger. You've always been jealous of me. That's why you're doing this. You hate that I'm successful. I nearly screamed. Successful? You mean pretending to be successful? Using my money for your fake lifestyle while I work nonstop, skip vacations and drive a beat-up car. My voice shook with anger. You're not successful, Eric. You're a fraud. And starting tomorrow, you'll finally have to live like one. His eyes widened in fear. What are you talking about? I'm pressing charges, I said firmly. I filed a police report, identity theft, fraud, everything. Mom broke down crying, falling into a chair. You can't do this. What will happen to your brother? To us? That's not my problem anymore, I said, voice cold as ice. You all made your choices. Eric lunged at me, but Dad held him back. You really want to destroy your own family? Dad shouted. You destroyed yourselves, I replied. The moment you decided I was only good for my money. I'm not your aim. I'm not your punching bag. I'm done. The room shook with their shouting, crying, and desperate begging, but I had already made up my mind. This time I was leaving and not looking back. I opened the door. Get out, all of you. The next time we talk, it'll be in court. The police came the next morning. Detective Reynolds was polite but cold. He took my full statement as I handed over every document. Credit card bills, screenshots of transactions, emails, even messages from my brother begging for just one last favor. Reynolds flipped through the papers. With this much evidence, it's not staying a family matter. Fraud and identity theft are serious crimes. I nodded. I want to press full charges. That was it. By the end of the week, Eric was officially under investigation. I watched it all happen like a train crash I once tried to stop, but now couldn't even if I wanted to. The family group chat exploded. Mom, you didn't have to involve the police. We could have handled this ourselves. Dad, you're destroying your own brother's future over some money. Eric, you've always hated me. Congrats. You finally got your revenge. Mom, think about the neighbors, the church, how this will look. The messages were full of guilt, manipulation, and desperation, the same tricks they used on me for years. But not this time. I didn't reply. But they weren't finished. 2 days later, my parents came to my apartment. This time, Dad didn't even knock. He pounded the door so hard that my neighbor peeked out and told him to calm down. Mom stood behind him, crying like it was some dramatic movie. Open the door. Dad yelled. You can't hide forever. I opened it just a few inches. There's nothing to talk about, I said calmly. You're making a mistake, Dad snapped. You've always been so ungrateful. After everything we've done for you? I laughed bitterly. What you've done for me? I paid your mortgage for 5 years. Your taxes. Your groceries. Your bills. Eric's debts. You didn't help me, you used me. Mom's voice cracked as she spoke. He's your brother. You're sending him to jail. No, I replied sharply. He sent himself to jail when he stole my identity. And if you actually cared about him, you would have made him take responsibility long ago. But you didn't, you just protected him like always. Dad's face turned red with anger. If you go through with this, you're dead to us. I stared him straight in the eye. I've been dead to you for years. And I shut the door in their faces. Weeks passed. The investigation moved quickly. Turns out Eric didn't just do this to me, he had scammed 3 other people too. Shady investors came forward once the police started digging. Grand jury. Felony charges. Federal court. Eric was in serious trouble. The trial hadn't even started, but the family was already falling apart. Then the unexpected happened. Relatives started speaking up. First my aunt, Dad's sister, called me quietly. You did the right thing, she whispered. We all knew how your parents protected Eric. They never appreciated you. Then my cousin reached out. Then an uncle. All of them admitted they saw this coming, but were too scared to say anything. He was always the golden boy, my uncle admitted. Nobody ever told him no. Not your parents, not even your grandmother. It was strange. They watched me struggle for years, and only now when Eric got caught did they finally tell the truth. But the biggest surprise came from Kelly, Eric's ex-wife. A few weeks after the charges she called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Thank you, she said right away. For what? I asked. For finally standing up to him. I wish I'd done it years ago. She explained how Eric didn't just cheat on her. He drained her bank account, forged her signature on loans, and left her with debt she barely escaped. He ruins everyone around him, she said, voice shaking. And your parents always covered for him. Her words hit hard, but they confirmed what I had always known deep down. Eric wasn't just spoiled, he was a predator. And my parents? They defended him till the very end. The last time I spoke to them was the day before Eric's court hearing. Dad called one last time. If you testify, he said coldly, you'll be responsible for ruining this family. I stayed calm. No, I replied. Eric ruined this family. I'm just cleaning up his mess. Silence. Then Dad said the words that haunted me my whole life. You were always the jealous one. I smiled for the first time in a long time. Those words didn't hurt anymore. And you were always blind, I replied. Then I hung up for good. When Eric stood in court handcuffed and wearing a prison uniform, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sorry either. I felt free. Free from years of lies. Free from their guilt trips. Free from being their personal ATM. The judge gave Eric 7 years in federal prison and ordered him to pay back the money. It was a tough sentence, but he deserved it. Eric never looked at me once as the judge spoke. My parents sat at the back, faces blank like they were mourning a hero. But I saw the truth in their eyes, anger and shame. That evening I went home alone, but lighter than I had felt in years. I poured myself a drink and my phone buzzed. It was a simple message from my aunt. You did what none of us had the courage to do. I'm proud of you. I stared at her message for a long time. For the first time in years I let myself believe it. 6 months have passed since I testified against my brother. 6 months since my parents disowned me for ruining the family name. 6 months since I stopped being their wallet. And for the first time in my life I knew peace. No more calls asking for money. No more guilt trips pretending to be love. No more watching my hard-earned savings disappear. Every morning I woke up in my small but paid-off apartment. No debt. No one controlling me. No weight on my chest. I had my life back, and it felt better than I ever imagined. The world kept turning. Eric sat in prison, his fake business empire in ruins, full of lawsuits and unpaid bills. The news talked about it for a few days. Young entrepreneur arrested for fraud. But scandals fade. My parents? They buried their heads deeper in denial. They cut off anyone who didn't worship their perfect son. Relatives told me Mom still hosted dinners, acting like Eric was some poor victim. Dad spent his days ranting about betrayal. But I wasn't part of their story anymore. Then one morning I got an unexpected email from Kelly, Eric's ex-wife. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, she wrote, but I had to say this. Thank you, not just for standing up to Eric but for surviving them. I know how your family operates. I know how hard it is to break free. I stared at her words, my chest tight. He was right. Surviving them was exactly what I had done. I had finally broken free from their chains. Weeks later, another surprise. A knock at my door. I opened it and froze. It was my aunt, Dad's sister. She hadn't spoken to me since the trial. "Is this a bad time?" she asked softly. "No," I replied. "Come in." We sat down. She looked nervous, playing with her wedding ring. "I just wanted you to know," she began, "Grandma passed away last week." My heart dropped. Grandma had been the only one in the family who ever treated me like a real person, not like a bank. "She left something for you," my aunt continued, handing me an envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. "You were always the only one who saw the truth. Don't feel guilty for choosing yourself. That's what I always hoped you'd do one day." Beneath the letter was a copy of her will. She left everything to me: the house, the savings, the inheritance my parents expected to get. "She wanted you to have a fresh start," my aunt whispered. "She saw what they did to you." I sat there, stunned. For a moment, old guilt tried to creep in, that familiar weight. But it didn't last. It wasn't guilt anymore. It was closure. They took so much from me: my peace, my money, my dignity. Now life was finally giving something back. Today I stand outside Grandma's old house, ready to renovate it into my new home. And for the first time in years, I feel something I never thought I'd have. Power. Not the kind that controls people, but the kind that lets you live without fear, without guilt, without someone demanding more from you. I glance at my phone. Dozens of missed calls from my parents, now desperate because they know about the inheritance. I don't answer. They lost that right a long time ago. I'm free.